everyone. This is your girl, Corine La Font. I am hoping that everyone is as beautiful as I am here today. And my favorite couple, Elsbeth and Freddy. Yes, it is always great to have them here. This is their third time, I think it is, right, Elsbeth?
I think so.
Yeah, it's their third time. In the description, I think I put it down too. You were here 2 years ago. And then in May this year, you were here as well. And the links, I believe, I put in the description. And what I have done for them as well is that I created a playlist so that you just go to one place and you can find all three, including this one, of their episodes. So it saves people time. Yeah. So if they come back here a fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th time, it's going to be it's going to be added to the playlist. They're such a beautiful couple.
That's so sweet of you.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Save people time. That's what it is about. Yeah. So let me tell people a little bit about you guys and we'll go straight into the discussion. Let me grab my bio here that I have for them. So Dr. Elsbeth Meuth and Freddy Zental Weaver have assisted thousands of couples and singles create lasting intimacy and fulfillment in their life and relationships. They are featured on Showtime's documentary series Sexual Healing. I come like the song, Sexual Healing. And the Emmy Award-winning NBC show Starting Over, best-selling authors of Sexual Enlightenment, endorsed by Dr. Michael Beckwith. They are the co-founders of TantraNova Institute in Chicago and the originators of National Intimacy Day. Now, I believe, before I say welcome to these beautiful people, that National Intimacy Day should be a day every day. It's not supposed to be one day. Intimacy Day should be every day. Welcome, Elsbeth and Freddy to Between the Lines again. Thank you so much.
Good to be back. You look great. Nice
Thank
to be
you.
here.
I'm trying. Cut the hair down,
It's good.
I'm trying, I'm trying. I see you have a nice little shadowing there. The last time you were clean shaven, I'm seeing a bit of shadowing of gray showing up. You look so distinguished next to Elsbeth.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yes. And her natural color is just, I hope that's your natural color, right? Is it? The silver in your hair?
It's all, it's gray and black, so that salt kind of thing. And then
I love it.
A little purple in it.
Lovely. I wanted to try that purple thing because I love purple. I think it gives a nice little accent to the graying, the silvering of the hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Color is important because color is an activating principle and we feel certain ways when we are around certain colors. So use colors to keep elevating your mood. Yeah.
I'm all for it. And that's a great way to kickstart this dance of yin and yang in relationships. Let's get it started. Why did you use yin and yang in the first place?
Oh, we all have estrogen and testosterone within us, every human being, no matter if we are a woman or a man or transgender or, homosexual. It is part of our biology. And estrogen and testosterone, we can describe estrogen as the flowing, the round, the open, the listening, and the yang, the testosterone, is directional, intentional, forward going, linear, and they really complement each other really well. Because if we were both linear, it would be awfully boring in any relationship. It doesn't matter. We are not speaking just about heterosexual relationships. If it's not present, this yin and yang, this balance of estrogen and testosterone in relationship, there is no magnetism, there's no attraction, because we are either like this, the yin, or we are like that. This is very one-dimensionally expressed, but there's something to it. And of course, it starts with ourselves, to be in the balance of the yin and yang, the estrogen and the testosterone within ourselves. Because if I'm not balanced in myself, how can I be balanced in my relationship with Freddy?
That is a very good point. And I like how you use the metaphor of dance. And it's actually literal. to me, because I don't know if I said this to you before, I dance. I mean, I haven't been dancing lately, but I dance. So I appreciate the analogy of using dance in relationship and the yin and the yang. Because in dancing, there's a lead. The man is the lead, the woman follows. And I did dancing too as therapy, I have admitted before, because it helped me to let go of being that alpha, taking charge every time and telling telling the man or anybody what to do. So it allowed me to be in solely in my feminine. And I so enjoy that because I don't want to be the man. I don't want to leave, all the time. And so it allowed me to sit back and allow the man to be. So when I heard you say that dance, that estrogen, testosterone, that fluidity, that flowing together in the same direction is something that piqued in me the question that I'm going to come to you with now. When couples are not dancing, when that yin and yang is not working, is that what's causing the conflict in relationships? Because people get together and I'm wondering, how do they discover the yin and the yang in their relationships, within themselves? How do they discover that in order to know if this person that they're with is the right yin or yang for me?
Yes, Corinne, so we get a lot of couples come to us, and this may be an issue where she doesn't feel heard or he doesn't feel heard. And there is a polarity, that dance. And it's like, Einstein said, study nature and you'll learn everything you ever need to know. And there is a polarity in the way that the planets pull, positive, negative, light, dark, up, down. There's this polarity. So as Elsbeth was saying, when we're born, when we're zygotes in the womb ingesting, we're androgynous, and then it's decided we're man or woman. And as men, we have more testosterone, women more estrogen. As we get older, the whole thing reverses itself. So what we're talking about is how can we be conscious of that polarity dance that is there. I may be more in my masculine just naturally as a man, and there may be times when I don't need to be, or really isn't supporting really communicable space between us to be in that masculine, to be conscious, so that being present, being self-aware allows us to make choices in situations that can be much more applicable in terms of in that dance.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Elsbeth.
What I alluded to earlier, what Freddy picked up on, is that dance within. Because if what you described earlier about yourself, that relief in dancing, that you actually can be in your flow, where you don't have to control, given the work you do, given who you are in the world, you are often in your masculine. It's
for sure
of participating in the marketplace.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's
That's just
great,
naturally who you are. Yeah.
It's great.
Beautiful.
However, what many of us women really forgot about is that feminine, where we can follow. It's not that we may not want to, but our nervous system may not be familiar with it, because when I let go and allow myself to be led, what's called for is that I trust. If I don't trust, I cannot be in my yin side. I cannot be in my feminine. And again, we are not talking about gender here. Yin is the one that is flowing in any relationship, maybe a same-sex relationship, So that I explore further when I work with women. This is the key thing that holds women back, sexually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And to come into inner flow, we want to integrate our sex with our heart, with our mind, with our spirit, and of course for the heart to open and to receive. I need to be willing to trust. And that is something that many of us women, actually not consciously let go, But when I am in control, at least, I think I know what's happening. I don't have to trust when I'm in control. So that was a big, big opening for me in my own tantric healing 25 years ago. That really shifted my whole life, had me then become a tantra teacher and then meet Freddy 6 months within my healing. And it had to do with that very thing, with trusting that I discovered in my healing process through the tantric practice that I had held distrust towards men. I had no clue about this, Corinne. I was very charming, inviting. I was not a distrusting bitch. Underneath, there
Yeah.
was something that was hidden, that was in the subconscious.
And this is the thing, we all have stories and experiences, impacting moments that are oftentimes lurking, running in the subconscious. And they show up in particularly personal relationships. We may get triggered and it looks like it's because of the weather or because of what she said or he said or whatever.
Yes.
Yet the bottom line is to begin to work with ourselves, to be self-aware, to begin to choose what is our senior commitment in this situation. I may really feel the anger. So then what is my process to then start to tune into myself, work with where the energy is showing up, what color, move it out with my breath and focus, and then choose what I want. If I might make a request or have nothing to say at all, yet we oftentimes do get this reactiveness and then we completely give up our power. So, Tantra, the word literally means weaving. And I'm a weaver, by the way. And
I was just about to say that.
and it's really, it's metaphorical in that it's weaving the experience of life, weaving this polarity that happens, this dance, this yin yang balance as it exists in our relationships, how we're living our life, how we're being self-expressed, how we're authentically moving towards actualizing who we, can be in our best selves in this time, this life.
I wanna share something. I'm hearing so many nuggets coming there, and I hope I could remember everything to share with you. But one of the things coming back to dancing, when you're learning to dance, they teach you to dance by yourself. They take the man by himself and the woman by themselves, and they encourage you and train you to learn to dance by yourself. So after a while, you learn your moves. So you have to come into yourself first before you can dance with somebody else. Yeah. So you can shadow, you can dance by yourself and actually, position yourself, be in the posture as if you're dancing with someone. But you have to learn to dance by yourself. We also learn to dance with the same gender. So it's when you go into the dance community, you will, or even if you watch videos on YouTube, you will see women dancing with women. You will see men dancing with men. And in the dance community, that's okay. Because it's just dance. It's not a homosexual thing. It's not it doesn't have that kind of.
It transcends gender. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. Yeah. And women can dance with one man. It has nothing to do with anything like that. But when you're in that community and you're dancing and you see a woman dance with a woman, everybody else is just going about their business, dancing with whoever. Nobody really cares. It might be a pleasure actually to see two women dancing, or to see a man dance with a man, or teach a man to dance with a man. So what I'm saying, I'm hearing you talk about that awareness of self. So when that woman is learning to dance by herself, or that man is learning to dance by himself, he's getting an awareness of himself, his body, his posture, how he's feeling, how she's feeling when she's dancing by herself in that moment. You mentioned trust. You have to trust yourself to know that when you're dancing alone, that you're doing the right thing. So that when you're partnered with the other person, that when you learn to move this particular way or that particular way, that when the man does join you and clasp hands with you, that it makes sense.
Yes.
It makes sense. So there's so much, and I'm saying this, and I'm going to put a little plug here for persons in relationships. I've always encouraged people to dance. Dancing can save a lot of relationships. Dancing can save you. I'm very, very serious. Anybody listening to this on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, it is something that I encourage because of what it has done for me. I've learned a lot about myself. I've always had a passion for dancing. It's in my blood, is in my veins, you know, and I
Yes.
do Latin dancing and ballroom dancing. So
Mhm.
you have to connect with that person. And
Mhm.
sometimes you would even see that people who dance get together in relationships because there is a connection that is built as a result of the energy flowing from you as a female and from you as the man. But the question I want to put to you here is that coming back, Elizabeth, about trust. It's not that women don't trust. I think we want to trust, genuinely, we want to trust. But when we want to be in our feminine, I don't think any woman born in this world wants to come out and say, I want to be the man, I want to be in charge all the time. They are actually, or we are actually looking for the masculine, the king, the man coming out to step into the man role so that we can look to him, you know, towards him for support. But when we realize that that gap, the men that's coming in our space is not filling that role, we step into that role as a man, and so there again we lose trust. How do we use this yin and yang to discover that part about ourselves, that part about the other person that we are partnering with in this dance, to know how to build that trust? Help me. And this is not only about women, it's
Yeah.
also for the men. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me say a couple of things about that. So, in moving towards something that we most deeply desire, requires us letting go of what we don't see we're doing to create what we're getting. So, practices like dancing or singing or things that allow us to be a witness to our thoughts and our stories. We're in our breath, we're in our somatic physical selves. Uh, and as a meditation, active meditation is very powerful in that we can start to get this perspective of the reflective watcher of ourselves. And
Yes.
in that
Verbal.
that we want to remember in terms of how does it feel in my meditation, in my visualization, the way I want to feel in relationship or in work or in wherever it is that you want to create something different. And then it's a matter of being able to be in the practice of self-reflection in the moment when we are in that story, and we're in that conflict. And now we can take a breath, we can take a beat, we can step back, we can begin to move with grace, ease, and flow towards this thing we have visualized and want to create more of. And that's how it's the be, do, have process. So the being is the feeling in the meditation of how I want to feel and be, and imagining and visualizing. And then the doing is the actual action steps of what you're going to do. And then you have what you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Elizabeth, what do you want to add to that?
Yes. So I would say that trust, when I don't trust, it is not the men who cannot produce trust in me. It's not possible.
That's
Trust
supposed
is
to very.
Trust is granted. So I can only grant a man trust when I feel the trust. And so coming into relationship, it is often that we get awakened to and also triggered into that what we may have experienced when we were children or adolescents, or some of us when we were infants, you know. And so that is what we bring, just like with me. What kept me from creating lasting intimacy and love in my life, in relationship, like 25, 30 years ago, was that I needed to discover that I brought that distrust from a much earlier time, when I was 18 years old, when I decided, that men are not there for me when I need them. And at that time, that was so, with an experience that I had with a boyfriend. And then my dad was not there for me. He actually called me a whore. So it was really that there was something, felt like there was something against me. And while I had done work on that 18-year-old relationship with that boyfriend in therapy in my 30s and thought it was completed, something was still left on the cellular level that I couldn't access with my conscious mind. So through the tantric practices and healing, that actually allows us to access that subconscious place of our being, that, whatever is recorded on the cellular level. And there I discovered that out of that relationship with that young man when I was 18, and my father reacting and vilifying me, I felt like you cannot trust, as an 18-year-old, you cannot trust men. And that trailed me throughout my young adulthood into my adulthood, you know. And then, of course, meeting men, I brought that with me unconsciously. And that also kept me then, and I had then this pattern of attracting unavailable men. And out of the discovery of having held distrust towards men, clearing that from my physical, emotional, and spiritual body. 6 months later, Freddy came into my life. And Corinne,
Ta-da!
I believe that I would not have recognized Freddy as a potential partner when I met him if I hadn't cleared that in my own background, in my own being, that that distrust that I held. Now I would have noticed him. He is tall, handsome,
Handsome,
you know,
chocolatey.
he's a basketball player, all of that. But a
Yeah,
potential partner is a whole other level of connecting.
yeah.
So he was available. If I had not been available, guess what? We wouldn't be sitting here together
And this
today.
is stuff that's running in the subconscious. We were talking earlier.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is then where we want to, you know, look at what is there. We can do this before we enter a relationship. For some women, it's, while they're
Elizabeth,
already in relationship either way. And so then,
Elizabeth, people are not doing the work, Elizabeth. You see, singlehood, singledom, whatever people want to call it, spending time with yourself is frowned upon. I see it more and more, probably more and more in this century to this day. You single? Why you single? Something wrong with you? I'm like, really? You know, there's nothing wrong with being single. There are people actually like myself. I'm single, and I am quite contented and happy being single until the right person, because I am not going to compromise again myself, to enter into something and be unhappy.
Mm.
I'm not a teenager anymore. And as you get older, there are certain things you're not supposed to be tolerating. Why? You don't know how long you have on this earth. Why spend whatever time left miserable and unhappy?
Yeah, the key is to be happy, wherever it is. If it's by yourself or with other people or in a group, whatever it might be, to keep listening and following your bliss, your joy.
Of
Uh,
course, of
yeah,
course. But here's the thing: if you don't have a man, if you don't, it's like, ooh, you. If you don't, and they perpetuate this programming, but you have to, like you say, have a relationship with yourself. And I like how both of you talk about the depth of the healing, the cellular level. Cells are living things. It records. I heard you say that, Elizabeth. It's recorded in your cells. And as much as you might feel, yeah, I'm ready for a relationship, I'm ready to get back out there. Oh, yes. And you start to look at, you don't realize that just things are happening in your environment that is coming back to you, and you don't realize, what am I attracting here? The same, just like you talk about unavailable men, you keep attracting the same. You're in this washing machine cycle, like I keep saying to people: wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And how do we get people? And I think we have said this numerous times on our interviews that we have been here together. How do we get people to take the time to recognize it's okay to work on yourself, to do the necessary healing, to attract the right person, to live a happy life?
well, the thing too, Corinne, about the perfect person is they may be perfect in that moment. You meet them, they smell good, they look good, they have
And
all
they
the
do. They
educational and
do.
financial pedigree that you're looking for and want, and you get together and it's just bliss for the first 3 years. It's like, oh, I just love the smell of your underarms and your toe jams. After about 3 years, you need to take a bath, and then the real, the psychological Sunday morning emotional clothes come off, and all the stuff that we experience that it runs in the background, we start getting triggered by each other. So the opportunity in the relationship is to learn first to allow the other to be totally who they are, and two, to make requests and to make agreements and keep adjusting the relationship as needed. And that's not something people learn, that kind of emotional maturity, that high level EQ is not something. It's a matter of practice. The tantric practices, working with the altered state of the sexual as a sexual meditation, is one of the deepest ways to get in touch with the subconscious aspects of our beingness. And so I really highly recommend people learning more about how to use these tools that we have innately given to us to keep moving towards their happiness, their bliss, being in relationship or our relationship. It's, again, in relationship, I find that I would not have seen things about myself that I can see in relationship.
Awesome. And on that note, what I want to do before Elizabeth talks is I want to feature the website while you continue talking. So Elizabeth, you could continue adding your value here while I bring up the website.
Okay, great. Thank you. So then Freddy just, put the emphasis on the sexual self, to actually be curious and learn to use that energy, that sexual energy, as a healing vehicle. Can be used as for healing, it can be used for pleasure, it can be used for creating new life, like in terms of children, babies. It can be also used to transcend our physical suffering into connecting with our cosmic self, because we are both, back actually to yin and yang, we are both earthly as well as heavenly beings. That is just who we are. We don't have to have a particular faith or religion. We are, and there it shows up as well, we are grounded in the earth and connected with the sky, always energetically speaking. And so then, in order to come to greater happiness within and fulfillment, we want to actually become aware of these different dimensions we spoke about a little earlier. The physical sexual dimension is the foundation. Without it, we wouldn't be here in this life. The second one is the heart, the emotional, the love center. And then the third is the mental, the mental consciousness, and then the spiritual awareness and connection. And to really, both in the question of how can we, evolve ultimately further within, and then in relationship, is to tune into these different dimensions. Because I can use the sexual energy for the sake of, having sex, which is great, but it's just the first level. What about having my sex and my heart connected? Because my heart is really there to open me up, to be willing to be vulnerable vis-a-vis myself and then another. And that sometimes can be very unsettling. But without vulnerability, there is no intimacy. So I can have sex without intimacy. It's fine, but then not to be deluded that, oh, why isn't that working? I want a life partner, And the sex comes and goes because the hormones come and go. So that's very sustainable. But the heart energy, which we actually suggest to lead from, to connect from, just like heart to heart, Dolly. Like, that we as a couple connect with each other. So heart center connection, third eye center connection, and then breathe together and circulate energy, or sexual energy connection, our sexual centers, that literally we dance with the energy of our sex, and then the sex, the heart, and the awareness, the spirit, then can connect with the other.
And just further demystify what these practices can be for people, when we're in our sexual forever, like we've been procreating, creating life, the last 100 or so years recreating with the development of contraceptives. And what we're teaching and sharing is how to co-create with this life force, altered state of awareness that happens when we're in the sexual, more indoor, serotonin, oxytocin, the feel-good hormones, emotional or loving, vulnerable, receptive. Now with distinctions of breath, energy, and intention, like I want to create relationship or work that's inspiring or live in a place that whatever it might be that you're wanting to create. We start to get more unmasked in this altered state of consciousness to the subconscious energy, the frequency, the stories that live behind in the subconscious that keep us oftentimes stuck. And that's how you can use the sexual energy, in addition to all the other wonderful things we can do with it, to use as a transformational vehicle. And that's what we're teaching, those practices.
So it's not, it's beside a relationship with a partner, somebody else. It's a relationship with yourself to help transmute you, transform you, alchemize you in terms of even your career, in terms of just bringing joy to yourself. So it doesn't have to be about a man or a woman. It's about just being in that place that brings you that joy. So, it can help in so many different levels. That's what you're saying.
That's exactly it. And in the men's workshop, men learn a self-love practice that they can do at home with themselves. And in the women's workshop, they learn as well the same. So there's ways you can work with a partner and with yourself. And ideally, you do both, whether you're in relationship or not, because we're always, working on ourselves.
Awesome. Awesome. Tell me what I should feature on your website. I know you're giving away something.
Yeah.
So let me find out.
Yeah, we want to share some practices. We put that together in a video class, which is called Ignite Your Relationship. And it's an opportunity for, you, the listener, having heard what we share about here in terms of that yin and yang. And then how do you bring this into your life more? So the video class actually teaches you certain practices, both with yourself to connect more deeply so that you can listen more deeply to yourself, so that you can discover more about yourself, where you may be stuck or where you want to open into. And also partner practices in that video class. So no matter if you are solo or if you are in relationship, that class could support you in bringing practices into your life where you can become more or come into your own flow, and in relationship that you can flow together more easily.
I put the direct link to that giveaway in the description, but here we are on your website. Is it possible, just if somebody went crazy and decided to go to TantraNova.com, where can they find it on your website?
So the gift is not on there because that is just special for your
listeners.
Audience today.
Oh, wonderful. People, do you see what I'm talking about? That's why you need to hang with these people. They're not making it public to everybody, but it's only for those persons who watch this show and listen and interact can get access to the link. Yeah.
There is one other thing, that on the website, when you go to TantraNova.com, TantraNova.com, TantraNova like supernova.
Yes.
So on TantraNova.com, on the homepage, scrolling down to the bottom, there is also where you can actually get access to our book that is called A Little Further. That's another thing you can sign up for. But I want to go all the way to the bottom of the page, and there you can see it. Seek Sexual Enlightenment, How to Create Lasting Fulfillment in Life, Love, and Intimacy. And underneath that picture that Corine is showing here, there are links to either Amazon or to other bookstores where you can Barnes & Noble. It's available in Audible and in hard copy. And that is a more an in-depth, way of learning what the background is, the history, also some practices. So the combination of the book, Sexual Enlightenment, and the video class of Ignite Your Relationship with Self or Relationship with Another is a great combination for you to, cultivate what you have heard and learned today in our conversation.
I'm going to leave that part of the website up so people can see that It was endorsed by Dr. Michael Beckwith. I did mention that in the introduction, but please try and get a copy of the book. And of course, reach out to Elsbeth and Freddy. You can reach them at the contact us page on this same website, TantraNova.com, just like she said, Supernova. Yes, Supernova, TantraNova. Yes, please reach out to them. And of course, if you're having difficulty at all reaching out to them, you can reach out to me and I will certainly put you in contact with this beautiful couple. Any final words before you go?
Keep breathing, enjoying your life, and owning your upsets.
I love that. Owning your upsets. Love it. That's a good thing to say on a Sunday. Owning your upsets. Owning your upsets. Anything from you, Elsbeth?
Yeah, big gratitude to you for your forum here.
Yes.
And for your own commitment to bringing light and the yin and yang dance to this world.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being a repeat guest on my show. Oh my goodness. It's always a pleasure having you. It brings a smile to my heart and to my face to have you here again. You are an example of what is possible. So it is possible. Thank you so much for being a guest on Between the Lines.
Thank you.